Welcome to our podcasts, Wise Black Nanas, Life Coaching Between the Dash. Hey, what do you do when it feels like life has thrown you a few too many challenges, knocked you down, in the bed, hard to talk about even with your best friend challenges, and it feels like the challenges are winning? Wouldn't it be nice to hear from your Nana? Or a stand-in Wise Black Nana? Well, they are Wise Black Nanas, Sharla Walker, PhD, and Joanne Early, MS, two mature women with over 70 plus years of combined coaching and mentoring, professional human resources, and business experience. The wonderful news is, these Wise Black Nanas are still living and learning about this amazing life, about resilience and grit, gratitude and appreciation, and the extraordinary power of love and friendships, being positive and supportive, and learning from others. Welcome to Wise Black Nanas. Let's listen in.
Hello, my name is Dr. Sharla and Walker, and I am one half of the great team of Wise Black Nanas. And today we will be talking about something we haven't talked about in a while. Joanne and I have discussed it, and we thought since the holidays are coming and Kwanzaa, and Joanne and I have been talking quite a bit since last year that, we wonder who observes Kwanzaa now. It doesn't seem like it, but we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about it, what it means, the 7 principles, and we look forward to your feedback on Kwanzaa. So, Joanne?
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Dr. Sharla. I'm Joanne, the other co-host of Wise Black Nanas. And you guys know by now if you've been listening in, and I hope that you've listened into every episode, just what we do. We talk about our everyday, or we're a couple of everyday uh, Black women, and we just talk about our lived experience. We give you snapshots and some memories from our past. We talk about a lot of things that's going on currently with us. And we also kind of look out into the future to talk about some things we'd hope to see. So, yeah, we thought, holiday season, end of the year, everybody's planning what they're going to be doing, that it would be a good time for us to talk about Kwanzaa. Because Dr. Charlotte and I realized that we haven't really done a good job, in talking about Kwanzaa, keeping Kwanzaa alive, and celebrating the traditions of Kwanzaa. So that's what we're going to make our everyday uh, action for this particular episode. We're going to talk Kwanzaa. And we plan to do some things in our family. We'll talk a little bit about that. And in the hopes that it inspires you, it encourages you to also, if Kwanzaa hasn't been a part of your holiday traditions and celebrations, to bring it back, bring it back. That's what we're planning to do. So, Dr. Charlotte, what were some of the things we asked ourselves when we were thinking about doing this episode on Kwanzaa? Remind me.
Uh, a lot of things. It's like, what happened to Kwanzaa? There used to be a lot of community events around Kwanzaa, and I don't know, it's because I'm in Texas now that seems to be gone, or because I haven't been out
Yeah,
because of whatever.
right.
And it just seems like it's a fallen art.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I, yeah, I do recall being part of a social club many 25 years ago,
Hmm.
where our name was Emoja, and
Uh-huh.
it was all women who were selling their merchandise
Got
to,
it.
you know, to different vendors, and had contracts, and we would get together once a month and have a meeting, and then also plan for having, um, what was our next vendor, who was going to be our next place to show, and we
Mhm.
had good results. And then I don't know what happened; it just kind of shut down. I
Mhm.
really don't know what happened, but it was a good spiritual and friendly environment, which is really, hard when you have like 20 women together sometime. But it
Mhm.
really was a good place to be. And I look forward to going there. So
And these you guys were all African American
yes,
vendors?
all African American, some were vendors, some were sellers, some had ballrooms or places where we could go to sell and
Hmm.
different things. So it was a good mix. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Wow. Well, it's kind of hard to say what's really happening in the community. It just doesn't seem to be as prevalent. Now, we both know that Kwanzaa is commercialized because you can go on Amazon as we did or on Etsy, and you'll see all kind of products. I don't know, all kind of products, things, part of the tradition, candles, candle holders, banners, that kind of thing. So there must be a still, I mean, there must still be a celebration and celebrations going on because otherwise these things wouldn't be out there for sale. Now, whether it's our communities or our African American vendors that's selling them, don't know. Don't know. So, it, just kind of begs the question of does Kwanzaa have the same significance? And we decided that we could only really answer and account for this in our own families. What are our own families
Right.
doing?
Yeah.
And we, as certainly kind of thought of as the head of our families, we're not doing much. So we feel like we've kind of let our families down. And so what we're trying to do is certainly spark some action in our own families to learn more about Kwanzaa, get more involved, do some things so that it's not just that you can go on Amazon and order up some Kwanzaa stuff, cards and banners and that kind of thing, but we're actually practicing the traditions of Kwanzaa. Because I, like everybody, every year bought those Kwanzaa stamps. You know.
Yeah. I had an experience on Etsy and it was before I moved to Texas. It was beautiful handmade Christmas door. I mean, a door decoration. It was
Yeah.
African woman. It was very, very pretty.
Wow.
And then when I ordered it and paid for it, because we should pay for all of it in advance.
Yeah.
Um, and then I got it. They said the delivery date was January 27th. And I'm like, that's after Christmas. And I did some research and finally got hold of someone and did get a refund, but unfortunately the lady that was selling them passed away, and
Oh,
so her
oh,
family was trying to make sure that all the people who had placed orders were
got there.
getting their stuff back. So that was good on their part, but it was a beautiful, beautiful door ornament. So
Well, it sounds like it would have been a perfect door decoration for Kwanzaa. Uh,
yeah, yeah, I was looking forward to it because I don't decorate much
yeah.
because this is me and my grandson. He's 33. We don't care anything about trees and all that kind of stuff. So we don't do all that. So yeah.
Well, I happen to live, as most of our listeners know by now, with a young person, and so this is a Christmas house. So we we are decorated probably in every area of the house. So I'm looking forward to kind of reintroducing Kwanzaa as part of that whole holiday tradition. And I don't know, I might be on the lookout for a door decoration that you've described because, that would certainly fit well. I live in a multicultural home, so that would fit
Well, I think
well.
Hobby Lobby has the instructions on how to do it, but
Oh,
I'm not crafty.
oh, you have to
Or
make it.
you I mean they have the instructions on how to make them, but I'm not
Yeah,
crafty.
yeah.
Or I have the patience enough to do that. It has to be already made for me. But
I'm
anyway,
I'm with you on that one. I'm with you on that one. But more later on how well I do with that. But anyway, bottom line is that we're both kind of feeling like we've let our families down with not keeping this tradition alive. And if there are some of you out there like us, we're hoping that we can give you a little jump start on planning and getting ready and including our youngsters in just what is Kwanzaa, what is it about, why is it significant, why can we see those, why do we even have Kwanzaa stamps? sometimes greeting cards, just what that is about or what the intent behind all of that is about. Because we know that it's more than just some pretty wrapping paper. We know that.
Or cards or whatever.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. So, my own experience is that I didn't know very much about Kwanzaa at all, even though it had been in place for many, many years. A One of my dearest friends, her niece, organized a Kwanzaa event, and she had it at her house, at my best friend's house. And we were all introduced to what Kwanzaa was and some of the history, some of the background, some of the materials that's used during the celebration. And that was my first introduction to Kwanzaa. And we were very grateful and thankful to her. And she did it, I think, a few years. But then everybody, well, I shouldn't say everybody, me, um, just kind of would go to some celebrations in the community and kept that up for a few years. And then, like you, I just kind of didn't keep it up. I guess
mhm.
life got in the way, and that was just one more thing to plan for and do. And so, we let it go down. But I am determined to bring it back to this family and talk about it to everybody that we know. And again, that's why we're talking about it on this podcast. So,
Yeah, I think that it would be nice if we had some comments on how to bring it forth with people that are 14 to 20, because that's kind of the generation that's coming up behind us, and explaining the tradition to them and why it's important. And you know because all my grandchildren are teenagers, so that they don't really, if it doesn't have Nike or Jordan on it, they don't really have interest in it. So
yeah, and that's, honestly, that's some of what we, should be talking to them about. We're not asking them not to, be interested in those things, but there's our history. There's our people that came before them that really suffered a lot so that we could have Nikes and Jordans and,
mhm.
that type of thing. So we can't give up. We can't give up. And I'm hoping that I can ignite, some interest in my family, to explore and to learn more and to figure out how they can incorporate Kwanzaa into their everyday lives, especially our spending patterns,
Right.
not forgetting, our ancestors, which is all part of the Kwanzaa tradition.
Mm.
So don't give up on them, Don't.
Yeah, I haven't enough fun. Just the way how you say things. You have to make them think it's their idea, not your
Yeah,
idea.
yeah. And relevant to them,
Yeah,
that it has some meaning that and maybe if you can relate it to those Nikes and those Jordans and they probably know all about Michael Jordan and where those Jordans got the name from and all of that, but a little bit more and connecting it to
yeah,
some of our own history to a time when we weren't allowed to play basketball. I don't care how good we were. So
yeah.
a lot of our ancestors and ones that made those things possible, you know, if we can, directly relate it to their experience, then maybe they'll retain a little bit of it.
Yeah.
So some things that we will be sharing with them is just some background and some facts and history about Kwanzaa.
Some of the things that we will be sharing is the meaning, the seven principles of Kwanzaa.
Hmm.
They have, each principle has a definite meaning, and it's a really enriching um, meaning that I think is important for everyone to know. And it's, if you think about it, we already do it,
Yeah.
but we may not even recognize that it's associated with Kwanzaa. Um, so I think if we think in those terms, then we could find out why now.
Hmm.
Okay. And I think right now is a good question because this country is going through a lot, a
Yeah,
lot of right. Let me be nice. A lot of turmoil, a lot of turmoil up and down, and you don't know who's on what base, and
right.
so I think that included because it is a non-Christian holiday. I
Mhm.
think that it does help those who do not find the holiday such as a faith built or Christian holiday where they can really
Right.
observe it. You know, at
Right.
least that's my take on it. It also, questions, why are things the way they are? Thinking back to maybe when we did have Kwanzaa, were things better? Were we as a people more together, more unity? And I think that Demoja talks about unity and being together and things like that. And I'm not sure that well, my personal observation is that I don't think we have the unity that we used to have. That grandma had, a great grandma had.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody is kind
And
of
yeah,
on their own.
I just, I sometimes think the very same thing. And I think going back and just remembering, different, I don't know, years with this going on or that going on, that affected our community greatly. We probably felt the same way, that we're not as unified as we could be or should be, that old woulda, coulda, shoulda thing. So yeah, I agree that I think, every phase of our lives, our history, that there are reasons to feel, to feel that way. And I absolutely agree. This is a tough time we're going through, uh, just as a nation. And it is a good time, a very good time to be reminded of the Kwanzaa principles, especially in the African American community, and just try to promote these things, that certainly, if we practice, if nothing else, but it will promote race pride and,
Yeah.
just feeling good about ourselves and who we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah.
know that, between you and I, our discussions and, the recording of this particular episode, we had some challenges just trying to figure out how much is enough or how much is too much because we want to share, but there's so much to share. So that begs the question, does it have the same significance as it did in 1966 when this tradition was born?
Yeah, yeah. That's an excellent question. And you and I have talked about this back and forth many times. I think it does. Just a reminder as we were preparing for this episode, just it waking up a lot of things that I've forgotten.
Mhm.
Some of the history I've forgotten. And certainly, I mean, I kind of generally knew what the principles were,
Mhm.
but not so much as actually going through them, several times and thinking about how they relate, in today's terms. So, it's hey, another exercise for our listeners. If you're practicing Kwanzaa or if you want
Right.
to reintroduce it into your family, there's just um, a lot of richness in the tradition, and in the practice itself that, we can all benefit from. But yeah,
Right.
it came about, was created by a Southern California college professor, Dr. Karanga, back in 1966, as a cultural celebration, drawing heavily on an African festival. The name Kwanzaa itself is a Swahili It's from a Swahili phrase. And I just remember that back in the 60s, Swahili was a big thing.
Right.
You remember knowing
Yeah,
some
I
Swahili?
remember Berkeley because I used to hang out in Berkeley when I was young.
Okay,
Don't
all
tell my
right.
mom, but
Okay, don't tell her. I won't. I won't. But Swahili, there were classes, there were college classes that you could take. So the very name of Kwanzaa itself came out of a Swahili phrase, actually meaning first fruits, and it was designed around an African festival of, a harvest. So that's where this whole idea of even having food associated with the Kwanzaa celebration is that it came from let's celebrate, we farmed all, all year, all summer,
right.
whatever. And now it's time to harvest those things. So this is where the tradition came from. But it's primarily observed in the United States, or that's where the certainly where it started. I
Mhm.
think you mentioned already that the celebration occurs the day after Christmas,
Mhm.
the 26th through January 1st, the new year. And it is a non-Christian holiday, so you don't have to
Mhm.
be associated with a faith in order to observe Kwanzaa. Principal a Day is celebrated, and it could be a small celebration or a large celebration. It can be in your family home with one or more persons. It's just a remembrance of, and also giving thanks and appreciation for ourselves, our families, our communities, our nation, our race. So lots happening there. And Dr. Karenga was certainly embroiled in a lot of civil rights activities going on at the time and thought that what a wonderful time to create our own holiday, our own tradition as we were fighting and struggling for rights during this period of time.
I think that's also a time when you would see more African garb, people wearing more African garb. I think that's kind of a
Yeah,
lost art now too.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I was looking through my closet and I got gobs of it. I don't know what to do with it, but I got gobs of it. 'Cause it was nice to be able to wear that
yeah,
to events and stuff like that. So yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. And that can be a part of, dressing in African traditional clothes and colors and fabrics. They're very beautiful and vibrant fabrics that absolutely can be a part of it.
Mhm.
So, mentioned earlier that there are seven principles. A principle is celebrated every day. And we decided not to struggle through with the Swahili names that are attached to the principles. We decided to just talk basically about what the principle means and stands for. So the very first day of the Kwanzaa celebration is a celebration of unity. That's unity in our families, our communities, our nation, and as a race. Second day celebration of principle is self-determination. And that's in just defining ourselves, naming ourselves, creating for ourselves, like those beautiful the African fabrics and attire. That's a beautiful creativity that prior to this time we probably didn't have much of. You know, the third day is collective work and responsibility. That's building and maintaining our own communities and making our brothers and our sisters' problems and issues our own and figuring out ways to solve those problems by working together. Cooperative economics is the next principle, and that speaks volumes for itself. And it basically means keeping our money in our own community, turning our dollars around, patronizing our own businesses and service people. We are contractors, painters, plumbers. Let's look for those individuals to call
Vendors,
vendors,
sellers, yeah.
sellers, keeping our money in our own community. Our next principle is all about purpose, and that's just making our collective vocation, the building and development of our communities, so that we can honor and restore our people and our ancestors to their traditional greatness. Creativity, things, let's look for things that we can do to make ourselves. Let's look for things that we can do to show our younger people that we are creative and that we can invent things and that we do invent things. Let's not let that,
Mhm.
stop. We are a very creative people. We know we are in arts and sports and all aspects of our lives. And many times we have created or invented things that we haven't gotten credit for. Somebody else has taken the credit for. So let's just make sure that we protect our creativity, and do as much as we can to leave our communities more beautiful and beneficial than when we inherited them. That's a pretty tall order, but
Yeah,
it's happening
let's not
every
continue to
day.
be robbed. Yeah, let's not continue to be robbed of our ideas and creativity.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then the last principle is faith, and it's believing in ourselves, believing with all our hearts in our people, our parents, our teachers, our leaders, people that are out there every day, doing things to make our communities better and just revel in, just the victory of the struggles that faced our ancestors and how hard it was for them to achieve. We think, oh, this is the worst time ever. But we're not living under severe segregation the way that some of our parents and grandparents certainly did. And they achieved, they created, they invented. So let's keep that going. Let's believe. Let's believe with all of our hearts. So those are the principles I ran through. And as I said earlier, or we said earlier, there are Swahili words that are attached to each of those principles, but we opted not to try to say those because we've had some struggle with the correct pronunciation. And so we went with, okay, what will people really remember? And it's not maybe so much about the Swahili named principle, but you might just remember faith, creativity, purpose, collective
Self-determination.
self-determination, responsibility. You just might remember those things.
Yeah, that those are, as you talked about them and you put them forth, is just something that, oh, sounds like leadership to me, you
Hmm.
know?
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
important to our leaders. I know that we struggle a lot with different things and different people, but those 7 principles are very key to who we are and what we want to be. So
Right.
that's important.
And wouldn't it
Ooh,
be, wouldn't it be wonderful if, we just saw such a resurgence of Kwanzaa that it was just, I guess, repeated and repeated and repeated until we saw it celebrated at our very highest levels of government and just, saw our leaders really acknowledging Kwanzaa and the importance of it, the traditions and the principles. Wouldn't that be a wonderful day?
yeah, that's it. So what Dr. Karingo has, I know I didn't pronounce that correctly, has reminded us is that Kwanzaa is a special time of remembrance, excuse me, um, to imagine what it was like and what it can be.
Mm-hmm.
It's about a new future and forge from there the most ethical and effective and expansive ways. So, how can we do this? That's the question for all of us to think about. What can we do? We talked about different things and different levels for different age groups,
Mm-hmm.
but as individuals, Joy and I have committed to talking to our families and
Mm-hmm.
getting them together as far
Right.
as understanding that there is another holiday, a non-Christian African American holiday that they may not be aware of, and doing some education, and hopefully next year they will take it over. So what do you think? How can we do this?
Well, we know if we don't start talking about it, that nothing is going to happen. So
Right.
again, we chose as our action step for doing something is that we are going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it during this holiday season. We may not celebrate it every day, but we're going to reintroduce it, into our families. We're going to make the principles part of our everyday mindset and the things that we do and the decisions that we make. We're certainly going to seek out and support our own businesses. When I need an electrician, I'm going to look for an African American one. When I need a
Mhm.
plumber, I'm going to look for an African American one. We're going to espouse being proud of our people, our heritage, our ancestors, our history. Not just when we're planning Kwanzaa events, but all the time. We're going to look forward to Black History Month, and maybe look forward to it in a way of thinking about Kwanzaa and how those two, kind of work together. If we're not doing Kwanzaa or can't do it at our house, let's look for what's going on in the community because maybe we need to start something in the community.
Yeah.
If you're living in a community and there's no Kwanzaa celebration, talk to your church, talk to your organization
Right.
about having one. And what an example to teach our young people. What an example to teach our young people. And then we're going to remember to be thankful for our ancestors, be grateful for all that they've done to make our lives easier,
Mhm.
smoother, all the sacrifices that they've made. We're going to speak their names. We're going to say their names out
Right.
loud, and
Right.
we're not going to forget them.
Yeah.
And
And I
then,
think, go
oops,
ahead.
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
No,
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 sorry.
go ahead.
I was going to say that when you talk about the community and talk about churches, I think some of the senior folks giving them the education that it won't interfere with Christmas because some
Right.
might be a little apprehensive because they think it's going to interfere with Christmas. Explain
Great point.
the difference, or they
Mm-hmm.
might have issue with it that it's a non-Christian tradition. So that might be something that has to start a couple months ahead of time to show that they're both good things to have.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one doesn't take away from the other.
Right.
Um,
It enhances to have
it
both.
absolutely it enhances because the Kwanzaa principles are things that we need to be reminded of and have in our everyday practices in order for us to keep moving
Absolutely.
forward. So, no, absolutely no. I don't think anyway. I'm sure there's someone that could argue that, oh, well, it's too
Yeah,
much
yeah.
or
Unity is. I think.
interferes or whatever.
I
Um,
think unity is one that is very important,
yes, yes.
and
And that is,
we've been around the block a few times, so we've seen that take place in in our lives. So
yep, absolutely. Absolutely. So, don't be afraid to, inquire or ask. And if there's,
mhm.
again, we want to emphasize you if you don't have a Kwanzaa celebration in your community, make one. Make one, and it could be in your home just by inviting a few friends or one friend, or just becoming familiar with it yourself.
Right.
It can't help but just reading the words and reading what it stands for. It's very inspirational, very, very inspirational. So we challenge you to start small and think about all the things that you can do to just, hey, I'm celebrating Kwanzaa this year, not just buying the stamps and the holiday cards. We're actually having a Kwanzaa celebration.
All right.
All right. So, in closing, we want to say how much we appreciate our listening audience so much. And when we know, heck, that this Wise Black Nanas podcast is not for everybody, and we do know that it's for a lot of somebodies. So, we hope that you have heard one thing that reinforces something that you already knew about. And we know that you knew about Kwanzaa. You just needed a little bit of reinforcement or something that inspires you to take some action. And the action we are taking and we want you to take is to celebrate Kwanzaa during this year end and celebrate it and incorporate it into your everyday actions. So Wise Black Nanas reminds us all to be grateful for what we have,
Amen.
all that we have, and all that we have achieved, and what we can do instead of what we've not done and what we don't have. We don't want you to think that way. We want you to consider how good your life is already and be grateful for every aspect of it. Be especially grateful for our ancestors and all those that have come before us and paved the way for us. We just want you to be thankful, especially during this time of the year when we celebrate so many things. We just want you to look within and look out and be grateful. So this is where we leave you with a few words of wisdom. We call it our Nanaism. So Dr. Sharla, do you have our Nanaism ready?
No,
Or you
I
want me
don't
to
have.
share it?
Please share it.
Okay, all right. So our Nanaism actually is something that Dr. Karanga took inspiration from during that time. And the actual quote is to believe with all our hearts in our people and the righteousness and the victory of our struggle. Just through those words, you can imagine what must have been going on back in 1966. So we want to thank you for tuning in. Please check out our YouTube channel. Go to our website. Take a look at the episodes that, past episodes that you might want to listen to again, or you might want to catch up if you haven't listened to them. And we ask you to please subscribe to our program, and you can certainly do that through our website. We love having you as a part of our community. And if you'd like to support and help us reach more women, more young people, please visit wiseblacknanas.com/support. That is just a way that you will be able to help us continue showing up with our love and real talk. We want to thank you for being with us. Until next time.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning into our podcast, Wise Black Nanas. New programs of Wise Black Nanas are on the 1st and 15th of each month. Listen in as you learn more about Wise Black Nanas, Dr. Sharla Walker and Joanne Early. They are everyday nanas. They are not famous, not celebrities or rich, well, rich in life and its experiences. We want you to come back. Tell your friends. So, look for Wise Black Nanas podcast wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Learn more about them and the coaching services they offer at www.wiseblacknanas.com.